9 October 2022, and today I'm back at Kariba. So I'm gonna have a quick shoot. It's very windy here and I don't want to speak for a long time. What I want to do is I want to look at the latest developments at ZIDA. You know that I'm very, very interested with everything that happens at ZIDA, the Zimbabwe Development Agency, because this is where the future of everything is going to be happening in Zimbabwe, in terms of the economy growing, in terms of the development of the country overall. So I was very, very interested this week when it was announced that Tafadzwa Chinamo has been appointed as the CEO of the Zimbabwe Development Agency. And specifically my interest is in whether that was a good appointment or not, and what are the possible implications going forward. As you know, the Zimbabwe Development Agency has had 2 CEOs in the past 12 months, and here we're talking about the death of Douglas Munatsi, and then there was Duduzi Leshinya, who was put in there in the acting capacity. And I've always said that the Zimbabwe Development Agency is underperforming because there is a lot that that agency can do. If you look at Rwanda, what they've done with their development agency is amazing. And I'm going to play for you a clip of the focus, the focus of the development agency of Rwanda and the positioning. Because the way that they've positioned the development agency or the development authority in Rwanda is such that it sits in the president's office, and the people leading it, specifically the CEO, is a former president's office employee. Whereas if you look at the current situation in Zimbabwe, they've appointed people who are technocrats. And the problem with having technocrats in ZIDA is that they lack the authority and the ability to transform or to make changes in a political environment, which is what I think is the biggest problem at ZIDA. Whoever are going to put there, it must be someone who is politically very, very strong, someone who can change things without assistance. So you don't expect the president to be there all the time. You don't expect the president to be there all the time to make things happen. But the nature of investment is such that you need someone very senior to be there. So the president, in fact, the president's office is responsible for development, and you cannot have this office being run by someone who is not a political figure or a strong political figure. So in Zimbabwe, I think that is where ZIDA is failing. When I dealt with ZIDA, I felt that they lack a proper leader, clear leadership and clear direction. They are not properly positioned for success right now. They need a change, because ZIDA is key in bringing in development. And that is on top of everything that I've said about the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe. ZIDA is key, is at the center of all these institutions. And also, in terms of turning around the economy, if you listen to the Rwandese, they have a strategy, a clear strategy of where their strengths lie. Whereas Zimbabwe does not have a clear identity. What is it that Zimbabwe has that they want to transform the economy with in the next 5 years? I'm not saying they don't have resources. I'm saying, what is it that they want to use as their key transformation tool? You can't say mining, because mining is not for everybody. It's not broad-based. You can have a big mining company or 2 or 3 or 4. But you want something that is broad-based, that is going to distribute wealth across the country. And I've said specifically, Zimbabwe is not utilizing technology to capture fees from people who are passing the country. So you want people to withdraw cash in Zimbabwe and get charged $2, $4 per transaction. So you need US dollar ATMs in Zimbabwe. That is an example. And every person that comes to Zimbabwe leaves $4, $5 in the country. You need tourism that works. You need packages. You need cooperation with international bodies. At the moment, tourism is not working in Zimbabwe. Those are the areas that ZIDA should be focusing on. And then on top of that, obviously, you need local manufacturing. You need to turn Zimbabweans into ambassadors, each Zimbabwe to speak well of the country. And these things are not happening. So the job of ZIDA is really important. And it needs to be positioned there in the president's office, led by someone very, very powerful. Someone who can bring attention to Zimbabwe. And there are a number of people that obviously I would have suggested to be in that position. Specifically, Prophet Hubert Angel. He was going to be perfect for this job. Instead of being an international ambassador, he should be sitting there at ZIDA. Or if you were to put someone like Prophet Pashot Java, I know that he's not a normal business person, but you need someone in that office that can handle that office and transform it. And the two gentlemen that I've mentioned would have been perfect as ZIDA CEO. I don't know if Tafaza is going to manage to turn around the politicians and make sure that they do what he needs to do. When I was at ZIDA, I realized that everyone does not know what portion they need to play. The ZIDA is there, but there is that glue that is missing, and that is where the CEO needs to get in. So we have a lot of work to do in Zimbabwe in terms of development, because the assets are there, but they have not been made into something that you can market. You cannot market those assets. For example, Vic Falls is there, Kariba is there, Wange is there, and Great Zimbabwe is there. But they're not a package. Someone cannot spend thousands and weeks visiting these places. You need to package them in such a way that when someone comes to Zimbabwe, they spend thousands. Right, so I'm going to end here. I'm not going to keep talking. I'm going to end here, and we'll continue with this talk another time. Let's see what happens. Let's see how Tafaza does. I obviously wish him well in his new appointment. Very experienced, former Zimnat, former Kingdom Bank asset manager, and I hope he does well in his new role as ZIDA CEO. I wonder how it's going to work with people like Luzile Shinya, what she's going to be now that she's not acting. So this is it from Kariba. I'm going to be here for a while. I'm going to be doing a lot of work, and development in Zimbabwe is something very, very close to my heart, and I want Zimbabwe obviously to be competitive just like other countries. But the situation in ZIDA, it's a culture issue in government. It's a culture issue, specifically how the president's office and his promises are going to be fulfilled. Those are the things that are really key. Because when you talk of development, and then you talk about the NDI, National Development Strategy, NDS, one. So those things, they are linked, and you can't just leave them in the hands of someone who is not a politician. These are political offices, like the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe. You can't leave the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe to do what it likes. It's a political office, and those guys must work hard. They must transform the country. You can't have a country where you don't withdraw money. Those are the kind of things that I'm talking about, that these are political offices, and they need to be made to work in line with the presidential vision. So let's see what happens. The appointment at ZIDA, it surprised me, because to me it looks like it's going to be an administrative task. Who is going to do the actual work of development? Very, very difficult to say. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll be back again tomorrow with other topics.
We are betting on manufacturing, because the key with manufacturing is that the domestic market is very important in consuming the products from the manufacturing sector. And then our aviation sector is picking up very strongly as well. Real recovery will come from manufacturing and agriculture. So those sectors are the ones we're looking at right now. Our location makes us competitive. But secondly, our policies. We are among the few countries in Africa where anyone in the world can travel to Rwanda without having to get a visa before they arrive. Any citizen, whether you come from Jamaica, or you come from Africa, or you come from Europe or South America, you can get a visa on arrival. And that makes it very easy for us to connect people, because the policies allow for that to happen. And of course, the infrastructure we're building, whether it's the airport and the airlines. And so I think we've built a very competitive ecosystem, and we continue to invest in a very competitive ecosystem. That it's easy to do business in Rwanda to start with. Today, Rwanda is the easiest place to do business in Africa, only after Mauritius, and we're 38th easiest place to do business in the world. That's the first thing. Secondly, as I said, the need is so big. If you look at the investment opportunities the African continent has, a lot of opportunities still exist, and Rwanda has put in place the policies, the laws, the regulations